are here on day 3 of the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC. Currently going on behind me right now, there are speakers throughout the day. However, the most recent speakers we just heard were Dave Milstein and Dave McCormick. Now, Dave McCormick, as you know, is running for Senate in the state of Pennsylvania. He is running against incumbent Bob Casey. Here's what Dave McCormick had to say a little bit right now. In discussions with Dave Milstein, McCormick focused heavily on Israel and its ongoing conflict with Palestine. However, when focusing on the state of Pennsylvania, McCormick believes the biggest threat currently to the Keystone State is that of fentanyl coming in from the southern border. He says he will support military action going into preventing the influx of fentanyl. However, we should look at current polling, and that is based off of what Emerson College is saying, and they are saying that incumbent Bob Casey is leading by 10 points over McCormick. However, that could change as those elections get closer. On the exterior, it may just look like a church, but in actuality, it is one of the 3 polling places you can find here in Shippensburg. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, and that means it is municipal elections here in the great state of Pennsylvania. And while these elections may seem on the smaller scale of things, it could have massive ramifications both for the upcoming presidential election and what's being taught in your students' classrooms. Just about an hour ago, former President Donald Trump spoke before a packed house here at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC. Obviously, there are still speakers going on behind me right now, but clearly the numbers have dwindled. There are a lot more empty seats, similar to what we saw before the former president spoke. While the ongoing conflict in Russia and Ukraine may be an ocean apart, that doesn't mean that local schools like here at Elizabethtown College can still provide support to those in need.
Student groups are in shock over the recent approval of the 2023-2024 SUSI budget. The reason? Every student group has seen cuts and their operating budgets shrink from this current academic year. From athletics to performing arts, groups saw budgets sliced, a move that SGA feels was a necessary action. However, people like Chase Slanker, who formerly served as the Vice President of Finances for the organization, thinks otherwise.
The Budget and Finance Committee was actually able to raise the activity fee this year, and the committee ultimately was debating what to do if they raised the fee, where that extra new money or revenue would come from, and apparently they couldn't reach a decision on where that went to, so they decided not to just take the revenue anyway.
Already, student groups have had to start considering their options for the coming fall semester, cutting trips and rationing for the bare essentials. Here's what some student leaders had to say.
The main issue that we have is because we do a really good job fundraising. So if we're already coming to those maximum efforts for fundraising, the only thing we can do is try to change our budget reports and stuff like that and try to minimize how much we spend.
The most prominent of cuts came for student media. WSYC, The Slate, PRSSA, and even us here at SUTV saw budget cuts slashed by 46% overall. But according to the administration, the cutting of the Cumberland yearbook would only make the cuts equal out to about 28%, or $19,000 in total. SUTV reached out to President Patterson in regards to the recent budget cuts. In his official statement to us, the president encourages student groups to, quote, work together, collaborate, and maximize their funding. He also went on to say that SUSI will also provide some additional guidance to funded groups in the coming weeks on appropriate ways to supplement their budgets, such as approved student fundraising initiatives. While the vote was not unanimous, SGA and the administration still approved the budget for the coming year. So it's most likely student groups will not see the full extent of what these budgets will entail until the start of the fall semester. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam. Students from across the entire area are getting the opportunity to not only learn where their food comes from, but are getting a chance to make that food happen. Well, clearly this close to finals week is more important than ever to focus on your mental health. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam. This is my buddy Reese here. Back to you all at the desk.
Thanks, you guys. So we are just a few hours away from former President Donald Trump speaking to a massive crowd of supporters here at the Farm Show Complex. This is Trump's first time here since 2016. Obviously, the state of Pennsylvania went to him in that year. However, in 2020, things went to President Joe Biden, a mistake that Donald Trump is not looking to make here again. Let's see what the former president had to say to all of his supporters here.
Thanks, Lindsay and Priscilla. So obviously, homecoming weekend is expected to bring out massive crowds of past and present students here at SHIP. But as we've seen with a recent trend across the country, homecoming weekends might be a little more dangerous than they have been in previous years. I sat down with SUPD Chief of Police Pat Taylor, who told me how students and visitors can stay safe. The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission are gearing up for what's looking to be an active Memorial Day weekend. However, before you hit the water, they have a few tips in order to stay safe.
Please, if you plan to drink this Memorial Day weekend and throughout the summer, always choose a designated boater.
Looking ahead at the weekend forecast, it is shaping up to be some great boating weather, and I'm sure the river behind me here is going to be quite the hot spot. So make sure you stay safe out there and always have your life jacket. Adam Beam, ABC 27 News. Thanks, Lindsay and Priscilla. So we are now 2 days out from Election Day, and while there are still votes being counted, it's clear that November 7th was a massive win for the Democrats. Starting off, let's look at that Supreme Court race like we mentioned. So the winner was Daniel D. McCaffrey. He was running for the Democrats, and it looks like he is taking over that seat once owned by Max Baer. And that means that the Democrats preserve their 5-2 control. Many experts are saying that this election, as well as elections in states like Ohio and Kentucky, were driven heavily by reproductive rights. Abortion is one of the most hotly contested issues on the ballot now that we are in a post-Roe v. Wade world. Democrats are obviously running under a pro-choice mantra, while the GOP is pushing heavily on the side of pro-life. Pennsylvania remains as one of those several states that still has accessibility to abortion. However, it is also a state with several caveats to said accessibility. It's clear, though, that voters are passionate about an issue like this, and we could see it be a massive player in the 2024 presidential election. But we aren't there just yet. So that is your hourly forecast. The snow is going to continue roughly till about 10 to 11 p.m., and then the nighttime should be a lot more clear. Obviously, this snow is going to be sticking around at least for the remainder of the weekend and possibly into the start of the week as well. But again, things snow-wise are hopefully going to be done here around 10 o'clock. Now, real quick, we're going to send it to our quad cam here real quick as well. I want to give everybody a good idea of what the snow is looking like here on campus. This is the academic quad. The weather cam is right there on top of the Grace Beadlers Elementary School. As you can see, pure white all across the board. Snow is just about everywhere. You can probably see some plows and maintenance crew trying to clear those walkways, as I said before. Let's also take a look over at the Seth Grove Stadium weather cam as well. This is what the stadium's looking like. If you thought it was tricky playing football in the rain, imagine trying to play through about 5 inches of snow. That's right, 5 inches of snow. That is exactly what we are looking at here at the moment. Currently, as it stands, theater owners have not yet indicated whether or not they plan on relocating the theater at this time. So for avid moviegoers like myself, the nearest theaters now for anyone in the Shippensburg or Chambersburg area are going to be in Carlisle or in Gettysburg. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.